Hi, so in this video I wanted to talk about viewing the logs of the apt package manager in order to find out when you install the packages and like when you uninstalled packages, when packages were updated, and so on. So basically I'm going to divide this video into two parts. In the first part, I'm going to talk about the log files themselves that you can just find on your system and view them directly. And in the second part, I'm going to show you a script that I wrote that helps you to do pretty much that exact same thing, viewing those files, but just formatted in a way that's just easier to read it a little bit. So this is the plan, and let's go ahead and jump right in. So first let's talk about those log files. So all of the log files for apt are located in the directory var log apt, and over here you can see there's three files that say history.log. History.log as it is, and then history.log.1.gz and history.log.2.gz. So let's talk about like what those are. So basically, the way that apt organizes log files is it archives them every month. So like the reason there's like two .gz files here is because like I had this system for 3 months at this point, and this is the log file for August, and this is the log file for September, archived in the gzip format, and this is the log file for the current month of October. So this is how the files are organized. You'll might notice that the highest number is the oldest log. So like whenever like as time goes by, when at the first day of each month these files get kind of shifted, this number on all of these files will get shifted by one. So like when it'll be the 1st of November, like this history.log.2.gz file will become history.log.3.gz, 1 will become 2, and this history.log will get zipped and put into history.log.1.gz. So the highest number is always the oldest log, and the one that is is not archived in the gzip format is the log file for the current month. So I actually haven't installed anything this month, but like basically like the way you would view the log file for the current month, you can use something like less to view the file, or like any text editor you want, and open it. Like right now it's empty because, like I said, I haven't installed anything this month. But if I want to view one of those archived files, you actually don't have to unzip them. There's a command on Debian that does the exact same thing. There's actually quite a few of them. They start with Z, so like and then they're followed by the name of like various commands, like less, for example. There's zless, then there's also zcat, and some others which I can't remember, but you can look that up if you're curious. So I'll open up the very first log file for September, and we're gonna take a look at it. So when I open it, you'll see that basically there are entries for each install that ever occurred, and in the beginning over here we get these like so first of all, like all of them have start date and end date. Like the first line of each entry is always start date and the last line is end date. The second line is command line, and that's the command that was run. And so this command was actually run by the OS installer when I was installing the system. So the oldest log will start with a bunch of these entries that were the installs that were done by the OS installer. And now that I've scrolled down a bit, you can see that like over here, they start looking different, and that's because these are the ones that I actually did myself. And you can see that because there's this new line here that says requested by, and then my username, and then also the user ID, which tells us like which user requested this install. We have also have the command that was run, and yeah, like, and all entries also have this install line, which can also be so there can be an install line, and there can also be an update line if there was an update, or a remove line. But they are very similar. They basically list all of the packages that were installed. It's not update though, but upgrade. But so they list all the packages that were installed, upgraded, or removed respectively during that installation session, which is just like during that run of this command. So this is basically how these log files are structured. So now I can start talking about the script that I wrote a little bit, and the reason why I decided to write it. It's because like sometimes I just like want to find out like when did I install that thing, or like do I have this package, I don't know, like, yeah, like if I wanted to find out if I had a package installed, I'd just use apt for that. But maybe I want to like find out like during which install this package was installed, like, or when was it installed, if it was some you know, like some dependency that was installed at some point in the past. Maybe I want to find out that. And like, or sometimes it's just like nice to have an overview of like the recent installs. If you're using something like I use timeshift very often to roll back my system. So like I know that like I ran these like 4 installs, and I want to revert like to that point, and like then I can more easily remember which timeshift snapshot that corresponds to, stuff like that. So it's helpful to view the logs, but this format I found it immediately quite difficult to read. First of all, because it's all plain text, and it's just like very difficult to find at a glance like the right thing that you're looking for. Especially if you can't like search for it. Maybe it's something that you kind of vaguely have an idea of. It sort of like should look like this, but I don't remember what it is, so I can't search for it. And like you scroll around, and it just like becomes very messy and difficult to read. And yeah, then there's like also this this install line, for example, is very, very long. Like it's almost impossible to read it, you know, just like with your eyes. Basically, it's more like something, I don't know, like it seems like that it's more of a something that like a more of a machine readable format, or maybe it is like intended to be sort of like human and machine readable. Not sure what the intention behind this is, but basically what it comes down to is it's very difficult to read and find anything here. So I wrote a script to sort this out. So let's now take a look at that. So the script that I wrote is called pretty-apt-log, and I'm right now in a directory where I was writing it. So I'll just show you the kind of the current structure that I have here. So I wrote a script itself, and then I have a man page for it, and then I also have a config file, like an example config file that you can start with if you'd like to change the default options. So I'll open the man page here in this bottom pane so that we can kind of look at the options that it has. So yeah, I haven't created like a GitHub repo yet for this script, but I will, and this is what you will get um, there. And I'll also create a README file there, which you will like see immediately as you when you open the repo, and there will be some information there that will guide you as to how to install it. But basically, what it's gonna be is just like you clone the repo, and then you can either move this script file into some directory that's on your path. And you do the same with the manual. You need to put it somewhere where man can find it, so that directory has to be on your man path. So like I'll just type it here. Like you have to have a directory in your path where you put the script, and you have to have a directory in your man path where you can put the manual. But this is kind of explaining how to set this up. Is beyond the scope of this video, so it's not complicated at all. Like if you just Google these things or like do a YouTube search, you'll find good tutorials or articles that explain how to do it. It's very simple. So yeah. So I was thinking about how like how to show how the script works. And basically I'm going to use my VM for this, which I have opened over here. And the reason why is because I have more kind of varied types of installs that I did in this VM rather than on my main machine. And so it's going to be kind of more easier to see, but the script is exactly the same. I just copied it just before recording this video. I just copied the file into the VM, and it's the exact same file. So if we just run the script as it is, it'll look like this. So it'll be a list of entries, which like this first line shows the start and date and the end date. If you remember that those are the first and the last line in each log entry. So like it formats that date for you, and then you have the command that was run. So this is just like an overview that I was talking about. It's just nice to have like, like I installed all of this stuff at this time of that day. So this is kind of the basic way you might use it, but you can also like do a couple of more things. You can change the format of the date if you prefer, and you can change the time zone. And just to kind of take a look at this manual and just read what it says here, and you'll figure out how to do this. It's not very complicated if you'd like to do that, but the default is basically this format: year, month, day, and then the time in the 24-hour clock. But if you prefer something different, you can change it. And oh yeah, like all of these options can be also put into the config file, which you can have over here. And basically your home.config, and then pretty-apt-log, and in that directory you need to put this config.bash file, which is just like an example file that looks like this, and you'll get it from the repo as like a starting point, and then you can set the default options the way you want. But over here it just has the default values as a starting point, like I said. But yeah, like the config directory is home.config pretty-apt-log, and then the config.bash in there. So there's that. But I'm kind of jumping around a little bit, but I don't know, like it's hard to just like know in what order to explain these things. So yeah, but we were talking about so like the basic usage. So you can format the date, and but you can also have, so like if you remember when I showed you the first log file when we opened it, like it had like installs from the OS installer. So by default I hid those because you probably won't want to like look at those very often. But if you want to see them, the option is -I, and that this way it'll show everything. So all of the installs that were made by the installer are also listed. Um, and like if you like for any option there is an opposite. So like I is a list entries that were that are represent the installs made by the OS installer. Like capital I negates that, and you can see this over here in the manual as well. So you can like set your own default in the config file, and then you can always override it on the command line by using the opposite option. I mean, this is pretty basic like command line stuff. A lot of programs have that, but some don't. Like I like it when there's like these opposites always available, so that you can always override a default that you might have set yourself in a config file, or like in an alias if some program doesn't have a config file and stuff like that. But yeah, so you can list the entries that entries of installs that were done by the OS installer by using this option. Then you can include the username with the -u. Now it shows the user, and you can also include the UID, like the user number that each user on the system has, like over here. So that's that. Then the details option. This one is quite kind of important to know about, because when you do this, it basically formats that. If you remember, there were these like lines for like install, remove, and update that were like very long and very hard to read. So like it formats them as a table, and it shows like it basically starts every entry with like 3 pluses, then install, and then 3 pluses again, and ends them with 3 tildes on each side, and then in the middle of it like install. Or if it's remove, then it will say remove. Or if it's update or upgrade, then it's gonna say upgrade. And you can have like installs, removes, and upgrades within the same session. And I had one like this over here. For example, there was an install of all of these packages, and there was a removal of one. So just like as a quick overview, you can see that like this was an install of a libav codec extra package, and this one doesn't have any like kind of special tag over here, but like the rest of them are listed as automatic. That's because they were installed automatically as dependencies of this package. So like if it doesn't have anything here, then it was like the one that was requested by you when you typed in the command. So yeah, then you have the version over here as well. And let's see what else. Yeah, when there is I don't know, like, is there an upgrade over here anywhere? Let's see. Like before I start searching for upgrade example, an upgrade example, I'll also show you one of the other options, which is you can use a pager to instead of like printing all of this into the terminal, you can type -p or -- pager, and it'll open it in less. and you can view it here, so that like you can maybe you don't want to like have a lot of output. You can just use dash p or dash pager, and then you can view it in here. So like I also yeah, I wanted the detailed one. So let's see if there's an update here. Yeah, or upgrade. Sorry, I keep saying update, but it's upgrade. So yeah, you can, as you can see, like with the upgrade situation, you have like the name of the package, and then the like the old version number and the version number it was upgraded to. So yeah, like this is way more readable than like looking through that plain text log file, even though it's just like a very well formatted file, but it's just like hard to read, and so I thought it would be like much nicer to have something like this. So let's see what else. So I explained pager. So like with the pager, you can also tell it to just like go to the end of the file right away, if you want to. So like this way, it will be scrolled all the way down to the end if you use this dash e option, or pager scroll to end. So yeah, this is like almost everything about the options. Just one thing that I want to quickly mention, like be a bit careful with this like dash p option, because like usually you can put like if you have single letter options, normally you can put them in any order under like a single dash. Like after one dash, you can just like put all the letters in any order. But like maybe you noticed that I kept putting p at the end, and that's because it can take like an optional argument, and it can take three values: always, auto, or never. And basically this is just how get-opt works. Get-opt is like a standard Linux kind of, I guess, like a standard way to parse options in your scripts. So here's a man page for it. So yeah, so that like there's a standard way to parse all of the options, but like there's kind of a small idiosyncrasy with get-opt when you have like an optional argument. So it can be like dash p or dash p and then value, which can be always, auto, or never. Like if I just if I said like dash p d, for example, for like detailed output, but this is wrong. This is not going to work. It's going to say that it's invalid argument to p, and it thinks that the d is the argument to p. So like with this option, you just have to put it at the end, or you can put another dash and do this, and then it'll work. Thought I'd just mention this. This is kind of a weird thing about get-opt. I wish they kind of just like made it so that it wasn't like this. But with short options with optional arguments, it's kind of a bit weird, but that's how it is. Okay, so one thing that I didn't mention in the beginning, but is quite important to know, is that the way that pretty-apt-log colorizes the output is it uses bat to do this, and I kind of used the bash syntax. Basically, it looks at it as though it was a bash script, and like these lines, I just made them comments, and the command is getting highlighted kind of with bash syntax, so it's nicer to look at, basically. Yeah, so you need to install bat, and you can do that by typing sudo apt install bat. here's like oh my god, an info page for bat. This is basically a kind of a more sophisticated version of cat, and it's nice because it has syntax highlighting. So one thing to know about bat on Debian, and I also mentioned it in the manual over here, that on Debian bat's binary is not called bat but batcat, and that was like some weird conflict with package naming. That apparently there was another package called bat and they had to like use batcat for it. But basically when you run this sudo apt install bat, there won't be like a bat like if you just type bat and then like whatever file, it wouldn't work. But you need to use batcat and then it will work. This is just the script, pretty-apt-log script itself. Yeah, like you can I created an alias for this so that I can just type bat and it'll work. But yeah, that's just like a little note about bat on Debian, something that's good to know. And if you don't have that installed, it'll just use less basically, and you won't get any color in the output. It will be basically like this. If I just use capital C option, it'll disable color. And if you don't have that installed, like it'll print it like this, regardless of what this color setting. So yeah, that's what's gonna happen if you don't install that. But yeah, it's a nice utility, bat. I mean, I like it. So a good tool to have in your toolkit. So one other thing to note about pretty-apt-log is that by default, if you don't pass any log file as an argument to it, then it just concatenates all of the files in your var. Let me see. Var log apt directory. So it will just string them together in the correct order. So it's gonna be like first the highest .gz file, then going down to the lowest numbered gz file, then finally the log for the current month. So that's what it does by default if you don't pass any log argument. But you can also pass just like only one file to it, and it can be either a gz file or a just .log file, not archived in as a gz file. So yeah, you can do both. So if you just like have one log file that you only need to look at that, you can just pass it as an argument. So for example, pretty-apt-log, and let's see what we have here: var log apt history.log. I'm pretty sure that this is empty. Yeah. So I basically only have one log file on this VM, but regardless, I can pass it as an argument, and it'll open only, like it will deal only with the contents of that file, but not any others. But by default, it includes all of the log files in the var log apt directory. Okay, so this is pretty much it for this video. I hope you found this useful, and it will help you kind of manage stuff on your system and organize things better. I use this all the time to just like know when I install stuff and when, it just kind of keeps me on track, especially when I'm still setting up the system, and kind of it's still on my mind, like what I installed and when, and then as time goes by I might forget something, so I can always go back and take a look at the logs and use this script to kind of to do that in a convenient way. So yeah, I hope you found this valuable. Thanks for watching. Check out pretty-apt-log on GitHub, and the link to the repo will be in the description, and you'll find the instructions and like a bit more detailed instructions on how to install it there. So yeah, thanks for watching. I hope you like this video, and I'll see you in the next one.